Welcome back to the Digital Imaging channel. I'm Will, and today I'm going to be running through how subcontractors help with digitization projects. Before we get into subcontractors themselves, digitization projects can be pretty complex with many steps in each project. There are a vast number of images and data points involved. You could be looking at hundreds of thousands, millions, even tens of millions of images and data points. So how do you do something that large and that vast without some help? The way we work with subcontractors is that they are helping us complete pieces of an entire project. So a project can have 10 steps, it can have 20, it can have 50 steps, and they will be dedicated to a part of that to help us complete the whole. The difference between a contractor and a subcontractor is we will be, you call it the general contractor of a digitization project. If you're working with us, we're gonna be the ones that you're in contract with, you're working with, and we're responsible for the project as a whole. A lot of times we will utilize subcontractors for those pieces of a particular project that they are best suited for compared to us doing it ourselves. So we are the overall contractor and they will be the subs below us. The way that subcontractors contribute to the final product is their speed and scalability, and they're often doing repetitive tasks. They're good at these, they're good at doing lots of the same thing over and over, and that's how we utilize them in most cases. Subcontractors carry out a variety of tasks depending on the project, but in most cases we're gonna use them for three main things, which are indexing or naming various files or keying the data from a file, image framing or cropping, which is basically cleaning up an image specifically from records like microfilm, microfiche, where there may be a little extra border around it because of the nature of the material. The subs will go in and crop out that image so you're just getting the image itself, not the extra border. And then record identification. Many times it's a lot of work to actually even identify which record we're supposed to be capturing or keying from and getting that index information, and subcontractors are often very good at that. Again, the emphasis is on speed and scalability of the subcontractor. So if we're working on a project, let's say it's 100 boxes and we're just doing box level indexing, capturing whatever's on that box label, that's 100 pieces of information. That's not too difficult. It's a smaller, at least on the index side project. We can just do that ourselves fairly quickly. However, if there are 150 folders within each box, that times 100 boxes, that's a lot more data points. And we may want to use subcontractors to capture the information from folder labels instead of having to do it internally, just because of their speed and the ability that they have to do that at a larger scale. When you hear the term subcontractors, you may be thinking, I don't know about this. Who are these people you're working with? Where are you sending my information? Why are they involved in the project? The main point is that our subcontractors are not just random folks we find for each different project we find a new subcontractor. These are long-term partners that we've been working with for years, some even decades, and we trust them with our projects and work with them almost every single day. Also, the way that we work with them is important because we're not just sending any information to them and letting them see whatever we see. A lot of times, let's say it's indexing, even if sensitive information, we'll use what's called fractured indexing. So they're only seeing bits and pieces of information, and there's no way that they can put that together, see what the actual record is. They're just getting little snippets of things that by themselves mean nothing. They're just keying something like a piece of a name or just a number. They don't know that those two pieces of information go together. That's something we handle on our side. Our subs do not do that. When it comes to the image framing and cropping, they're seeing low resolution, illegible images. We're sending them basically a blurry image that their goal is to make the frame around the image as tight as possible, but they can't see what's actually on the image. So sensitive information is not something they're getting. They're just seeing a blurry image that is illegible. If we're working with them on a project where there's non-sensitive information that they are able to see for potentially record identification, that is something we could send them. But again, that's something that you are confirming that yes, we can use subcontractors. They're able to see this information so that we can scale the project, get it done more effectively and efficiently for you. But that information is not something that they're not allowed to see, most likely public information. Going back to an earlier point about these trusted partners we do have business associate agreements in place with our subcontractors. We also have them complete annual security review documentation. And then during our annual SOC 2 Type 2 audit, a third party comes in and checks to make sure we're doing what we say we're doing. And one of the pieces they're absolutely checking on is how we work with our subcontractors and how we handle information between the two. So it's not just we're saying we're doing these things, we're doing our own internal audit, we have agreements in place, and a third party is checking that we are saying we're doing these things properly and working with our subs securely. There is also a financial aspect to using subcontractors. Subs will often cost less than in-house personnel doing a piece of work. Their scalability, the number of folks they have, and the type of work they're doing allows it to be done at a lower price. Now, if we have a lower price, almost every case that is passed off to you. So if you want two prices for your project, one with subcontractors, one not using subcontractors, in almost every case, I can't actually imagine where it wouldn't be, but the non-subcontractor price will be higher than if we can use subcontractors, because then we have to employ our own people that are more focused on other types of work than what our subs do. Something important though is that we can't always use subcontractors. There are various projects. For example, if we're working on criminal records, we have to do image or per file identification. We may have to look at every single image within a file, and that would require the actual page, the image from a piece of microfilm, from microfiche, whatever it is, to be viewable. That's not something we can have our subcontractors do if they can see all the information. So sometimes we have to do it ourselves. That's just how the project goes. Other times, even if it's possible to use subcontractors, you may not want that. That's absolutely fine. Just be prepared that a subcontractor price, if it's possible, if we can actually do that, will be lower than if we're doing it ourselves internally. So wrapping it all up, subcontractors are absolutely an essential piece of how we do business. They are involved in many of our projects, not the whole project. Again, if you're working on a 25-step digitization project, subs may be part of 1, 2, 3 pieces of that. They're not doing every single piece. They're just a small part of it, but they're essential because they allow us to scale projects, to do pieces more quickly than if we had to do it internally, and more cost effectively. And again, just to wrap this up here and bring it to a close, our subcontractors are absolutely long-term partners. We've been working with them for years. They've been working on thousands, probably tens of thousands of projects and innumerable images. So we've been working with them for a long time. We trust them and they absolutely help us in our projects, which means they help you as well. So there you have it. There's a quick overview of how subcontractors are utilized in digitization projects. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you next time. I'm Will. This is the Digital Imaging Channel. Thank you and goodbye.